Welcome to the Bold Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I am bringing this podcast live from Gachuhi, Egerton, here, where we are actually doing a project to support Mary. And in this podcast, the highlight of it is the reaction after reports emerged that former President Uhuru Kenyatta met a contingent of delegation from the United Opposition just to forestall what looked like a fallout between Matiang'i and the rest of the team. A statement from former President Uhuru Kenyatta that the President Ruto is eroding the gains that have been made in the country is not sitting well with fellows. And of course, we are going to look at the incident in which Farouk trying to attack former President Uhuru Kenyatta. But before that, guys, I want us to take a minute first. I'm bringing this podcast live from Gajuhi, and we are here to support a mission. And this is to put up a house for Mary Nyambura. This mother of three left Kenya to work in Saudi Arabia, but it didn't go well. One day, the toxic boss pushed her from third floor of their building. She fell down and broke her spinal cord and came back in the country in wheelchair. And of course, since then, life took a different turn. The husband, who was always around for her, disowned the wife because she saw the wife. The wife came back in a wheelchair, only being forced to depend on well-wishers who reach out for stipends. And currently we are here to support, put up a house for her, because while she was working, she saved some little money and she bought this piece of land. And of course, we came out to support because depending from well-wishers, it has not even been she has not been able to meet her daily bills, including even the residential place she actually stays. So this was to help her, of course, pick up life. And I want to say thank you. If you look at behind me, this is the house. It's actually a 2-bedroom house with the 2 toilets, our Toto, Nayake, and we started, and at this moment, it's actually going to the Linton. And I want to say thank you very much for coming up to support. And of course, at this point, between today up to Monday, we are looking at how we can get the roofing. That is the deficit remaining. And let me invite David, one of our people here, to come and explain to us the deficit in terms of what is needed in that roofing, that we can do it. Karibu sana, David. David, maybe can you tell us in terms of what is remaining? We were talking about the roofing. Is everything going to work as was planned?
Okay, it is true. Hapa ndio mahali tumefika. Na kuanzia leo tunapandisha mawe. Nafikiri imebaki kama kama ine ifike kwa Linton. Then deficit ambayo tumebaki nayo, tumebaki na mbao za roofing.
What do you need for roofing?
Nataka mbao za roofing 800 feet. Then nataka iron sheet.
Mabati ni ngapi?
Mabati ni 40 pieces. Yeah.
Na mbao
ni 800 feet.
Approximately that comes to how much?
Approximately 75,000.
75,000.
Yes.
Will that include labor for the fundi wa roofing?
No.
Not labor. So if you include labor, maybe around 15,000. So
yes, yeah.
Yes. So thank you very much again for standing for this work. It's not been easy. This is the biggest house we're doing.
Yeah. Yes.
2 bedroom.
Imekuwa kubwa sana. Sababu iko na 2 bedroom, iko na kitchen, pamoja na toilet mbili.
Yes. Yeah. And we had to do that, guys, because of situation ya Mary. And thank you very much for that update. Now we had to do that for the Mary's situation kwa sababu akona watoto 3 na watoto ni wadogo, and she's also in the wheelchair.
Nyambura wetagwo Zieta one Danieli Njoroge second born na heo mutari kuo tafadhali mundeithie gwaka na Ngai nĩakũmũrathima. Yes, na
So lazima hatuwezi mjengea choo nje, lazima choo ikuwe ndani yake na ya watoto. So it's a project that is going to take all of us, but we will do it. And that is why probably if you get around 90,000 between today and Monday, nikirudi kuambia Monday, tutakao tunatafuta dirisha. Probably dirisha na tumalizane na plaster. And we can do it. So guys, support us in every aspect. You can come in. Now, without much ado, yesterday on Friday, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta shocked the country for the first time in 3 years, coming out to explain to the nation why he's been silent and his regrets that the new projects and policies that the current regime are actually rolling is undoing the gains of what the country had achieved in the last 10 or so years.
Many of the gains we had in the past have been eroded. Linda Mama and others replaced by new, untried, untested schemes. And while we wait for these experiments to work, Kenyans suffer and our progress is retarded. As we continue to dwell in rhetoric rather than in progress, we repeat the mistakes of the past.
Hi. Habari wa Kenya ama wakubwa wetu, tuko na wakubwa tulichagua. Sisi tuko hapa Thika level 5. Tumefungiwa hapa na bill. Na kufungiwa hapa na bill si ati tumeshindwa kulipa. Tulikuwa tumelipia SHA. 24 hours tukaambiwa 24 hours zimeisha, so SHA haiwezi katusaidia. So kama wamama tunaumwa na tunahisi uchungu kwa sababu kuna wale tuko na watoto home. Watoto wetu kuna wale hawana mababa, mtu analea watoto single mother. So wale watoto wanateseka. Unaona hakuna mtu anaweza kukulelea mtoto jinsi unalea wewe mtoto wewe mwenyewe. And then kuna wale wako hapa miezi 2, kuna wako hapa miezi 3, kuna wako mwezi hadi wiki. Ni so painful kwetu, tungeomba usaidizi wenyu. Mtusaidie tu please. Ili tutoke hapa tuende tushughulikie watoto wetu. Watoto wetu wanateseka. Kuna wale hata bado hawajarudi shule. Na kutorudi shule si wamekosa kurudi shule juu ati unajua mwanamke akiwa nyumbani hata struggle aende mjengo afulie mtu alipia watoto wake school fees kidogo kidogo, lakini ukiwa hapa ndani watoto wako wanashindwa kusoma. Na kama mtoto msichana ukimwacha hivyo bila mtu akose kusoma, unaona mtoto ataharibika. Juu kama hapa mimi niko na mtoto wa miaka 11 na ni msichana. Hebu niulize huyo mtoto mali yako hapo ako safe? Kitu kingine ni uchungu juu wakati watoto wako wanaishi kaa chokora. Serikali nyinyi tu ndio same mtakuja kutufunga tupeleki watoto shule na mmetuweka hapa. Iko wapi haki ya wanawake? Ama kuzaa ni makosa? Kubeba mimba ni makosa? Mngetuelezea ili tujue kama ni makosa. Kama ni makosa, mtu ajue hakuna haja ya kuzaa. Wale wako hao wakae hivyo. Mtusaidie.
Huku mahali tunaishi hakuna madaktari. Kama tulitupwa tumefungiwa. Watoto hawaoni jua, kunguni. Tunalalia vitanda ziko na kunguni jamani. Chakula tunapewa saa 10. Chakula jamaa iko na hadi mawe.
Tunakula mboga tunauma na tumbo. Watoto wanalia njaa, watoto wengine wamefikia mahali pa kukula. Wanasikia njaa wanashinda wakilia, wenyewe hakuna maziwa. Tunaomba usaidizi kama wa Kenya. Mtu usaidie, tutafanya nini?
Mkitusaidia hata God bless yule amefanya nini, amejitolea. So usaidizi wenyu kwetu itakuwa baraka, machozi watu.
And of course, this statement from the former president did not sit well with the current crop of leaders we have. And because in this context, he also came out strongly. Of course, the NDC that was also attended by Fred Matiang'i, and Matiang'i is, and very important, is a very core principle in the united opposition. It was very ironical that while the NDC was happening in the Ngong, the side of the Ngong, in Lang'ata constituency, in town Fangano House, the Martha Karua's NAK Kenya was also holding an NDC to endorse Martha Karua for presidency. But then what came about is what seemed to have changed things, and that is why the current Kenya Kwanza leaders are now up in arms against the former president. Of course, when you look at the streets, the social media streets, and different leaders reacting to the position of course, what Uhuru did was perceived as trying to pluck Matiang'i from united opposition. It was casting more doubt as to whether Uhuru Kenyatta would actually propel Matiang'i for the presidency when he's not with the other united leaders. Now, according to the report that has come up, is a contingent of leaders and eminent persons from Mount Kenya met the former president on Friday night in Nairobi in an attempt that was seen as bringing the reconciliation between between former President Uhuru Kenyatta and the united opposition side. Of course, the dominant factor was that Uhuru Kenyatta was perceived that if you pluck Matiang'i from united opposition, it is that probably you are working in cahoot to support President William Ruto re-election, because a divided opposition is a plus to the current administration. And that is the narrative that came out yesterday. And that is why you see people are saying that Jubilee is a red wheelbarrow. All the other statements that he made against the former president, of course, he made against the current president, speaking about the current untested policies and projects, did not really interpret to what is intended, but the perception came out clearly that he was supporting William Ruto. Of course, it is undeniable fact that if Matiang'i wants to be president, Uhuru Kenyatta cannot guarantee him presidency because of the voice of Uhuru Kenyatta. Someone even making a noise, making some jokes saying, Uhuru Kenyatta spoke yesterday. Probably he will speak next in 2026. Of course. And again, our politics, and I listened and I bought his statement on his voice. I listened to his voice, and there is something he said that we cannot depend on the tribal arrangements to win presidency and probably to change this country. It's a very important conversation that tackles well with the young voters that are coming up, people who probably do not grow up in tribal caves. And of course, this country, no one grows in tribal caves. And it sells well. However, our political architecture, our infrastructure is still domiciled on my name, my place. And that is where the argument is that Matiang'i, at whatever cost, he should get and if you ask me, this is my position and this is my opinion, probably you can disagree with me and you can take it, that Matiang'i should not dream of presenting 2027 presidential bid and using Jubilee as the launch pad. That is why I think we've been saying they must be careful that we have Nyeri Town Member of Parliament Ngunjiri Wambuga. I've always mentioned here. And we have Jeremiah Kioni, people who purport to support one-term movement, but they spend all the day attacking Rigathi Gachagua, who is a key principle in that one-term movement. Actually, is the author of one-term movement. That beats the logic, and it doesn't make any sense if you support Matiang'i to dislodge William Ruto, But any other person who supports Matiang'i in the same bid to dislodge William Ruto is an enemy. It beats that logic. And probably this is why a contingent of a delegation met former president to push a reconciliation so that they can reconcile what emerges as two camps between Uhuru Kenyatta and the other side of the opposition. And today, this is what has now irritated the Kenya Kwanza team, because after Uhuru Kenyatta spoke, it was not clearly where he belongs. People were still second guessing. Does he belong to Kenya Kwanza? Does he belong to the United Opposition? Because he actually attacked both sides. So today, two statements have come from President handlers. And that is Farouk Kibet and Oscar Sudi. Oscar Sudi was in Muhoroni, and according to him, this is the president's undoing.
Niliona ule mtu wetu, ule former president, ule mtu alikuwa amemaliza inji. Tulipata inji ikiwa kwa maututi. Nilikuwa nasikia anaongea maneno ya security, anaongea sijui maneno ya nini, anaongea sijui maneno ya mastima. Mimi nataka niambie former president, tafadhali, mtu akienda retire anakuanga mtu muungwana sana, anakuwa mzee. Mtu wa kuonesha watu barabara, mtu wa kwenda engagement ya watoto, mtu wa kwenda maharusi ya mandugu zake na madada zake. Hakuna kitu ulisahau. Sisi ndio tulikusupport na tukakupatia uongozi ya miaka 10. Na tukasimama na wewe. Lakini tu term yako ilikuwa mbaya. Na sijui mwenye ulikuwa unaongelea watu walikuwa sijui hawakuwa najua wewe ndio ulikuwa rais ama wanafikiria. Mimi nataka nikwambie Uhuru Kenyatta, wewe relax. Wacha uongozi, waachia huyu ndugu yako aongoze. Ile kitu ninajua inakusumbua kichwa sana, ni kama ndoto. Ukiona ile vitu ile Ruto anafanya, ni ile vitu ilikuwa kwa manifesto yenu zamani. Ile mlikuwa mmeanza nayo 2030. Lakini wewe ulikuwa muoga. Uliogopa maneno ya housing, uliogopa hii maneno yote, kubadilisha maneno ya mazomo nini. Sasa inakusumbua kichwa, unaona mwingine anafanya. So nilikuwa nataka niambie wewe Uhuru, wewe relax, tutaki tena tulimana na tulikulima, hatu kushinda kura na ukaenda nyumbani kwa mzee. Hauwezi pata uongozi mwingine tena na uwezi ukaongoza kwa kona nyingine, ushamaliza. Sasa wewe tulia. Acha uone maneno vile inaendeshwa. Unajua wewe ni mtu ya vita. Unajua ile wakati mwingine ulikuwa unataka kuunganisha wa Kenya. Unajua ile vitu ulifanya Rift Valley. Ni ile tu tulinyamaza tukasema hata sisi tumekuwa wazee, wewe tulia. Sasa hii maneno unataka tena kurudi kwa siasa, my friend, hauna nafasi na hakuna nafasi ya hii Kenya watu kugongana tena. Na usikuja na mimi naona tena unaelekea maneno ya ukabila bado. Ugonjwa iko hiyo, sijui ni ugonjwa gani hiyo. Watu wa Islam tukwambie wewe tulia. Uone vile kazi itafanyika.
And it seems that is the position, and everyone, because we actually been waiting that will Rigathi join the bandwagon to attack the former president, and is not. Then elsewhere in Wajir, I think this is Wajir or Garissa, if I'm not wrong, Dadaab in Garissa, Farouk Kibet was also leading another delegation with the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, and in another subtle attack at former president, but the audience was not receptive of it. Really did not work as was opted for it to work.
Watu ambaye wanafanya NDC na wameenda retire. Mimi nataka kuuliza watu ya Dadaab, wale watu ambaye wameongoza Kenya na wanarudi meza ya kuongoza ingine, nyinyi watu ya Dadaab mnakubaliana na wao? Waende ama wasiende? Waende kwa wakienda. Sisi tunasema, na mimi nataka kuunga yale Aaron amesema, kwamba wewe ukishabalika na Wakenya kuongoza, usilete tena aibu yako katika mambo ya Kenya kwa mesa. Sisi tunataka hivi, na nataka tuambiane mambo ambayo inasikika. Sisi tulitosheka na uongozi wa Uhuru Kenyatta akiwa Jubilee. Yeye anataka kufufua chama ambaye inaendelea kusink. Nyinyi wa Kenya mnakubaliana na hiyo ama mnakataa? Aende asiende? Sisi tunamwambia awe mzee kama wazee wengine. Retire na mtosha, aende apumzike, language yake ni retirement. Mimi nataka mseme retirement. Aende retire ama asiende? Aende apumzike asipumzike? Yeye hata ajui hapa Dadaab inakaaje na alikuwa president wa Kenya. Hiyo mtu aende ama asiende? Na nyinyi mnasema Markal. Hii mnasema namna gani? Markale. 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 Hebu nionyeshe Markale ya William Ruto hapa. Mimi nikisema Harambee mnasema William Ruto Markale. Harambee. William Ruto Markale. William Ruto Markale. Para Markale. Para Markale. Aendelee. Aendelee. Hao watu tutawashinda ama watatushinda? Wako na kura ama mko na kura?
So that is the position, and something is simply not tickling in terms of how that was supposed to be done. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to bring that a little bit more clear, and it's now emerging that the state team has realized that former president is not with them. And in this podcast, I want to explain the 4 reasons why William Ruto is disturbed and very uncomfortable with the return of Jubilee Party. First, Uhuru's emergence hits Ruto because there is a question that President Ruto has been asking that, give me your plan. And the other people have been saying, our plan first is to remove you, then we will tell Kenyans what we should not tell you. But the former president is asking, is reminding the masses that, look here, there are things that I did that worked. And one of them is Linda Mama. I saw this video. Probably let me play this video of some others stuck in Thika Level 5 hospital over the issues of SHA. Yes. This is what the president was talking about. One saying, you know, these new things that have been tested, not been tested, are not working while people are suffering. And this is what he was actually referring to. And that is what is not settling well with the president. I think Uhuru Kenyatta emergence complicates further the Mount Kenya vote hunt, because the magic moment needed, the magic for 2022 and to kick out William Ruto from Mount Kenya is clearly a Rigathi Uhuru truce. Just that. That reconciliation is brokered, and then everything settles in its own place. And that is one of the things that probably they're not settling for. The other issue here is Uhuru is not an enemy to Raila Odinga. Yes, I think he's not attacked Raila since 2022 general election. And even when Gen Z protest happened, Uhuru sent Raila to go and talk to Ruto so that a truce will be found. And I think the state is seeing that because the relationship, the deal between Ruto and Raila is wobbling, probably through Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga will take an exit route. Yes. Probably will exit that deal and to see how it comes out. And I think it is because Uhuru is emerging closely as person pro-opposition compared to the government. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That's why I'm shooting that video here. You can give us your feedback, what you think, and you can support us. If you come from this place, kuna mabati, namba yangu iko hapo, tuma hiyo mabati. If you are here, you can give me cement, bado nafaa kufanya plastering. You can donate. You can even donate in kind. Nitakuja nitatuma. Kama uko na mbao huku yenye tunaweza kata, nitafute, nikate, nipe mbao, mimi nikate, nitengeneze roofing. That will be it. So the current we are doing between today and tomorrow is probably, until tomorrow is probably roofing. The next moment I should actually come asking for something else. But we need around 90,000, and if you can offer whichever way. This is a very huge project. That's one thing I can tell you. This is huge. This is not like Zile Zingine. But we will pull through. We have done it before, and we do it because we believe we partake of these blessings, and it is good to support a worthy cause, and this is worth supporting. Thank you.